The rain lashed against the tall windows of Vanessa Morgan's penthouse apartment. Lightning briefly illuminated the pristine white furniture and sleek modern art that decorated the space, evidence of wealth that had never quite translated to happiness. Vanessa sat alone at her marble kitchen island, nursing a glass of red wine, while scrolling through emails on her tablet. At 42, she had everything money could buy. CEO of her own marketing firm, a Manhattan penthouse, vacation homes in 3 countries, and a closet full of designer clothes. To the outside world, Vanessa Morgan was the definition of success, a self-made woman who had clawed her way to the top through determination and brilliance. They didn't know about the nightmares. They didn't know about the medication she took to sleep. And they certainly didn't know about Lily. The heavy knock that echoed through her apartment made her jump, wine spilling across her silk blouse. Nobody visited unannounced. Her heart raced as she moved toward the door, a strange feeling of foreboding washing over her. The date on her watch caught her eye, May 17th. 20 years exactly since that day, the day she had done the unthinkable. Her hand trembled as she reached for the door handle. When she pulled it open, time seemed to stop altogether. "Hello, Vanessa." The wine glass shattered on the floor. Vanessa and Lily Morgan had once been inseparable, only 2 years apart. They shared a bedroom in their modest home in rural Pennsylvania, whispering secrets after their parents had told them to go to sleep. Vanessa could still remember the smell of Lily's strawberry shampoo, the sound of her infectious giggle that could lighten any mood. But things began to change when Lily turned 13. While Vanessa struggled through the awkwardness of adolescence, acne, braces, and a gangly figure that didn't quite fit together, Lily seemed to blossom overnight. Her little sister's natural beauty drew attention everywhere they went. "Your younger sister is simply stunning," teachers would comment. She could be a model. At home, their mother would brush Lily's thick chestnut hair, while Vanessa sat doing homework at the kitchen table, ignored. Their father beamed with pride when Lily performed in school plays. His camera always focused on his younger daughter. When Vanessa graduated with honors, her father missed a ceremony for one of Lily's dance recitals. The jealousy grew slowly, like a cancer. Small resentments accumulated into a mass of bitterness that Vanessa couldn't excise from her heart. "Mom always loved you more." Vanessa spat during one of their increasingly frequent arguments when she was 19 and Lily 17. "Everyone does." "That's not true, Nessa," Lily had replied, her eyes wide with hurt. "Why do you always say things like that?" But tragedy struck before they could repair their fracturing relationship. Their parents' car slid off an icy bridge one winter night, plunging into the freezing river below. At 21, Vanessa became Lily's legal guardian, responsible for her 18-year-old sister and saddled with funeral expenses and their parents' considerable debt. "What are we going to do?" Lily had asked, her voice small as they sat in their childhood home, foreclosure notices piled on the coffee table. "I don't know," Vanessa admitted. "College dropout, working as a waitress, barely making ends meet. I'm trying to figure it out." That's when Victor and Anastasia Petrov entered their lives. The wealthy couple frequented the upscale restaurant where Vanessa worked. They always requested her section, overtipping generously and engaging her in conversation. "You mentioned you have a younger sister," Anastasia said one evening, her accent thick but her English fluent. "How old is she?" 18, Vanessa replied, clearing their plates. "She just graduated high school." Victor leaned forward. "Our niece was supposed to come stay with us in Europe, help with our business, but she's fallen ill. We need someone young, reliable, someone like your sister, perhaps." The offer came later that week. $50,000 for Lily to come work as their assistant in Switzerland for 1 year. Housing provided, expenses covered, with the promise of connections to modeling agencies. "It seems too good to be true," Lily had said, uncertain. "I don't know these people, Vanessa." "They're loaded," Vanessa insisted. "This is your chance to see the world, start a modeling career. Plus, we need the money." What Vanessa didn't tell Lily was a conversation she'd had with Victor alone. "Your sister is exactly what we're looking for," he had said, counting out cash in the back office of the restaurant. "Young, beautiful, no close family ties except you. Perfect." "She's my sister," Vanessa had protested weakly, even as she eyed the stack of bills. Victor smiled coldly. And yet here you are. The day Lily left, Vanessa drove her to meet the Petrovs at private airfield. I'm scared, Lily whispered, clutching her single suitcase. Maybe this isn't right. Vanessa forced a smile. Don't be silly. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. I'd go myself if they'd asked me. When Lily hugged her goodbye, she whispered, I love you, Nessa. I'll make you proud. Vanessa watched the small plane take off, the weight of the envelope with $50,000 heavy in her purse. She told herself Lily would be fine, that the Petrovs were legitimate, that her sister would have opportunities Vanessa never had. She almost believed it. For 3 months, postcards arrived from different European cities. The handwriting was Lily's, but the words felt scripted, generic, and then the postcard stopped altogether. When Vanessa called the number the Petrovs had given her, it was disconnected. When she contacted the Swiss embassy, they had no record of her sister entering the country. Panic set in as Vanessa realized a horrible truth. The Petrovs weren't business people looking for an assistant. They were traffickers, and Vanessa had handed her sister to them. She went to police, told them a partial truth that her sister had gone missing in Europe, but she couldn't bring herself to admit her complicity. The police found nothing. Lily had vanished. Vanessa moved away from Pennsylvania, unable to face the memories. She told anyone who asked that her sister was studying abroad. Eventually, she stopped talking about Lily altogether. The $50,000 became Vanessa's seed money. She moved to New York, enrolled in business courses, and launched what would become Morgan Marketing, a company that grew from her laptop in a tiny studio apartment to occupying 3 floors of a Manhattan skyscraper. On paper, Vanessa lived the American dream. Business magazines featured her as a self-made success story. What they didn't see was how she worked, until exhaustion, because sleep brought nightmares of Lily calling for help. They didn't see her flinching whenever she saw a young woman with chestnut hair on the street, or how she would follow them for blocks, hoping for a miracle. You should be proud. Her business partner, James, told her at their 10th anniversary celebration, You built something incredible from nothing. If only he knew the true cost. Vanessa's romantic relationships never lasted. She kept everyone at arm's length, afraid that getting too close meant revealing her darkest secret. 3 engagements had fallen apart when her partners realized they could never breach the walls she'd built around herself. What are you so afraid of? Her last fiancé had demanded as he packed his belongings. It's like you're punishing yourself for something. He had no idea how right he was. In her 30s, Vanessa began donating substantial sums to anti-trafficking organizations. She established scholarships for at-risk girls. She funded searches for missing women. None of it eased the weight of her guilt. Every year on May 17th, the anniversary of Lily's disappearance, Vanessa would lock herself in her penthouse, turn off her phone, and drink until the memories blurred. Sometimes she would pull out the single photo she kept of Lily, hidden in her bedside drawer. Her beautiful little sister at 17, laughing at the camera, unaware of the betrayal to come. I'm sorry, she would whisper to the photograph. I'm so sorry. But sorry couldn't bring Lily back. Sorry couldn't undo what she had done. By her 42nd birthday, Vanessa had resigned herself to a life of success without happiness, wealth without joy. The hollow achievements of a woman who had sacrificed the only person who had truly loved her on the altar of her own jealousy and greed. The woman standing in Vanessa's doorway was both familiar and a stranger. The same heart-shaped face, the same deep brown eyes, but harder now, marked by lines that spoke of struggles Vanessa could only imagine. Her chestnut hair was cut short, and a thin scar ran along her jawline. Lily, Vanessa whispered, her voice breaking on the name she hadn't spoken aloud in years. 20 years, Lily said, her voice steady but cold. It took me 20 years to find you. Vanessa stumbled backward, her legs giving way as she collapsed onto her sofa. Lily stepped into the apartment, closing the door behind her. She surveyed the luxury surrounding them with a bitter smile. You did well for yourself, I see. How did you? Vanessa couldn't form coherent thoughts. Her sister, the sister she had sentenced to a nightmare, the sister she had believed dead, was standing in her living room. How did I escape? How did I survive? How did I find you? Lily finished for her. I have so many stories, Vanessa, none of them pleasant. Lily set down her bag and removed her coat. As she moved, Vanessa noticed a stiffness in her left arm, the slight limp in her gait, physical reminders of whatever hell she had endured. The Petrovs sold me to a man in Belgrade. Lily began without preamble. He kept me locked in a basement with 5 other girls. We were merchandise. Her voice remained eerily calm. 3 years I was there. 3 years of things I won't describe. Vanessa covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. I managed to escape during a police raid, but I had no passport, no identity. I was addicted to the drugs they used to control us. I lived on the streets until a women's shelter took me in. Lily's composure cracked slightly. It took 2 years before I could tell anyone my real name, before I could admit I was American. By then I was so ashamed, so broken. Lily, I'm not finished. Lily cut her off sharply. I worked cleaning offices for years, saving every penny. I got help, got clean. I learned the local language. Eventually, I connected with an aid organization that helped trafficking victims reclaim their identities. It took another 5 years to get back to the United States. Why didn't you contact me then? Vanessa asked, her voice small. Lily's laugh was devoid of humor, because by then I knew the truth, that my own sister had sold me. She pulled out a worn envelope from her bag. Viktor Petrov liked to keep trophies from his transactions. When he was arrested 3 years ago, police found this in his possession. She tossed the envelope onto the coffee table. Inside was a photo of Vanessa accepting money from Viktor, dated the day Lily disappeared. The police showed me this during his trial, asked if I knew you, asked if you were part of the network. Lily's eyes burned into Vanessa's. I told them you were dead, that my entire family was dead. It was easier than admitting the truth. The silence that followed was deafening. Outside, the storm continued to rage, a fitting backdrop to the tempest inside the apartment. The question that kept me going through everything, Lily finally continued, was why? Why would my sister do this to me? Vanessa couldn't meet her eyes. I never believed they would. Don't lie, Lily interrupted. Not now. Not after everything. You knew exactly what you were doing. And suddenly, the dam broke. 20 years of suppressed guilt came flooding out as Vanessa confessed everything: her jealousy, her resentment, her desperate need to matter more than Lily. She told the years of nightmares, the failed relationships, the empty success built on blood money. I've spent 2 decades trying to atone, Vanessa sobbed. But how do you atone for something unforgivable? Lily watched her sister break apart, her expression unreadable. When Vanessa finally fell silent, exhausted by confession, Lily spoke again. I didn't come here for your apologies or to watch you suffer, though I've dreamed of it often enough. She leaned forward. I came because I need to know if you've changed, if the sister who betrayed me is still the same person. Why does it matter if I've changed? Vanessa whispered, nothing can undo what I did to you. Because, Lily said, her voice softening slightly for the first time, I need to know if I'm making the right decision. What decision? Whether to forgive you. The words hung in the air between them. Forgiveness seemed impossible, unimaginable after everything Lily had endured. You can't possibly. Let me be clear, Lily interrupted. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean we become sisters again as if nothing happened. It means I choose to release the hatred that's been consuming me for 20 years. She stood and walked to the window, watching the rain. The therapist at my recovery center had a saying, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. I've been poisoning myself with hatred for you, Vanessa. I deserve your hatred, Vanessa said quietly. Maybe, but I don't deserve to carry it anymore. Lily turned back to face her. The organization that helped me Second Chance, they work with trafficking survivors. They need funding, resources, ways to help women reclaim their lives. Understanding dawned on Vanessa's face. You want me to help them? I want you to help me help them, Lily corrected. Use your money, your connections, your business expertise. Not as atonement, Nothing can atone for what happened but as a start. For the first time in 20 years, Vanessa felt something like hope stirring in her chest. Not hope for forgiveness, she couldn't even forgive herself, but hope that something good might come from the wreckage of their lives. "I'll do anything," she promised. "Whatever you need." "It won't be easy," Lily warned. "Working together means looking at each other every day, remembering everything that happened. I can handle it if you can." A ghost of a smile touched Lily's lips. "I survived hell, Vanessa. I think I can survive you." The sisters didn't embrace. There would be no tearful reunion, no immediate healing of wounds too deep and festering. Instead, they sat across from each other through the night, talking. Lily shared the brutal details of her captivity and escape that Vanessa needed to hear, needed to understand the full weight of her betrayal. Vanessa laid bare the emptiness of her success, the hollowness of her life built on Lily's suffering. By dawn, they had the beginnings of a plan. Vanessa would use her business to create a foundation dedicated to rescuing trafficking victims and providing them with resources to rebuild their lives. Lily would be the face of the organization, working directly with survivors who would trust someone who had walked in their shoes. Lily left as the sun rose, declining Vanessa's offer to stay. "I have my own place," she said. "My own life. We'll work together, but one step at a time." Vanessa understood. Trust, if it ever came, would be earned slowly. The following months were the hardest of Vanessa's life, harder even than the guilt-ridden years before. Working with Lily meant confronting her crime daily. Every survivor's story was a reminder of what she had condemned her sister to. Every meeting was filled with tension, every interaction loaded with unspoken pain. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, things began to change. The foundation, which they named Phoenix, Rising, gave them a shared purpose. Vanessa poured her business acumen and resources into creating rehabilitation programs, job training, legal aid, and housing for survivors. Lily brought compassion and understanding that only a fellow survivor could offer. 6 months in, they secured their first major victory. Evidence Lily provided helped federal agents bring down a trafficking ring operating across 3 states, rescuing 17 women. "You're making a difference," Vanessa told Lily afterward, careful to maintain the professional distance that still existed between them. "We are," Lily corrected her, the first time she had acknowledged their partnership as something shared. A year after the knock on the door, Phoenix Rising held a gala fundraiser. Lily took the stage to tell her story publicly for the first time, her voice steady as she recounted her capture, captivity, and eventual freedom. The room was silent except for muffled sobs as hundreds of donors listened, transfixed. "But my story isn't just about survival," Lily continued. "It's about the hardest thing survivors face. Forgiveness. Not forgiving those who hurt us. That's a personal choice that no one can dictate. I'm talking about forgiving ourselves for the shame and guilt we carry." Her eyes found Vanessa in the crowd. Sometimes the people who hurt us are carrying wounds of their own. Sometimes jealousy, insecurity, and desperation drive people to terrible acts. Understanding that doesn't excuse those acts, but it helps us see the humanity even in those who cause our suffering. After the speech, as the crowd mingled and donation pledges poured in, Lily approached Vanessa by the windows overlooking the city lights. "Did you mean what you said up there?" Vanessa asked hesitantly. "About seeing humanity even in those who hurt you?" Lily was silent for a moment. "When I first found you, part of me wanted to destroy you," she admitted. "But this past year, watching you pour everything into helping others, seeing your genuine remorse, I'm beginning to remember the sister I used to love." "I don't deserve your forgiveness," Vanessa whispered. "Forgiveness isn't about deserving," Lily replied. "It's about choosing to move forward unburdened by the past." She held out her hand, and after a moment's hesitation, Vanessa took it their first willing physical contact in 21 years. "We can't erase what happened," Lily said, "but maybe, just maybe, we can build something meaningful from the ashes." 1 year after that first knock on the door, Phoenix Rising had helped over 100 trafficking survivors reclaim their lives. Vanessa had stepped down as CEO of Morgan Marketing to dedicate herself fully to the foundation. Lily had become a powerful advocate, testifying before Congress and consulting with law enforcement agencies on trafficking cases. The sisters maintained separate lives. Lily had her own apartment across town, her own friends, her own routines, but they were no longer strangers. Twice weekly dinners became their tradition, carefully navigating conversations, gradually rebuilding a relationship unlike the one they'd lost, but valuable in its own way. Do you ever think about who we might have been if I hadn't done what I did? Vanessa asked during one such dinner. Lily considered the question. Sometimes, but those people don't exist. We can only work with who we are now. And who are we now? Vanessa wondered. Survivors, Lily answered simply. Both of us in different ways. Vanessa still had nightmares, but less frequently. She still carried the weight of her crime, but it no longer threatened to crush her. And sometimes, when Lily laughed at something during their dinners, Vanessa caught glimpses of the girl with strawberry shampoo who used to whisper secrets after bedtime. It wasn't a perfect ending. There were still moments of tension, painful memories that surfaced unexpectedly, boundaries that needed to be respected. But it was a second chance neither sister had believed possible. The most unexpected change came in Vanessa herself. The hollow success that had defined her life had been replaced by something authentic. For the first time, she was making a difference that mattered, guided by the sister she had wronged. It was a redemption nothing could fully redeem what she had done, but it was purpose, and perhaps, eventually it would be peace. Asterisk if the story touched you today. Please remember that family relationships are precious and fragile things. Jealousy and resentment can poison what should be our closest bonds. No success is worth the price of betraying those who love us. Asterisk. Asterisk second chances don't always come in the form of a knock on the door. Sometimes we have to be the ones to take that first step toward healing, toward forgiveness, whether asking for it or offering it. Asterisk.